This is why you are struggling to pass any UX design portfolio presentation during the job interview. It is not because you don't have enough projects. It is not because you graduate from the bootcamps. So today we will be talking about what you are doing wrong and what you can adjust your portfolio presentation to land your next dream job. The first mistake is you spend too much time on working through every research activity, like how did you conduct each research and how did you actually learn from each research activity. But remember that you are interviewing with the UX design job. The hiring manager, they don't really care about the detail about each research activity. What they care about most is what is the final research insight and what is the problem you're trying to solve for this project. So let me tell you how I made the exactly same mistake during my very first UX design interview. As a cat owner, I always forgot to buy the cat food for my kitty until we running out of the cat food. So I think this is a pretty big problem in our daily life. So I started doing some competitive analysis, and here is a few apps I analyzed. The first app I did was Chewy. So what is Chewy? Chewy is the biggest online cat food supply platform, and what Chewy is doing. After this competitive analysis, I did 2 rounds of literature reviews, and here's what I learned from this secondary research. And then I started interviewing with my friends, and here's what I learned from this 8 user interview. So literally I spent almost 7 minutes to talk about my overall research process and elaborate on every research. So guess what? The hiring manager looks very sleepy and almost like he loses the attention of my portfolio presentations. My recommendation here is to summarize your research process into just 1 to 2 sentences and then jump into your research insight as soon as possible. For example, you can say something like, I did comparative analysis, a user interview, and secondary research, and here are the research insights, and that's it. And my second point is to talk about the real insight. So what is the real insights? Insights are not the common facts or knowledge everyone has already known. They should be something that really surprised you and you didn't know until you finish the whole research process. So ask yourself, are they truly something made you surprised and wow during your entire research process? And remember, these things are the actual real insight you need to share. So when you talk about your research insights, if you have more than 5 insights, please try to synthesize all these insights into 3 concise bullet points. Simplify here also means that did you talk something repetitive? Did you talk about the exactly same thing during the second and the third insight? Can you simplify and consolidate this insight into just one simple and straightforward insight? And the second mistake is around we only show the final solution without telling how and why. And here is actually the bad example from my younger self. When I talked the design process during my very first UX design interview, I talk like this way. Based on these research insights, I propose this how might we statement. How might we help the cat owner buy cat food and supplies online? Here's the mobile app I designed. Feature 1 is to allow you order anything online by using our mobile app. Feature 2 is to subscribe the specific item you want, and we will deliver it every 2 months to your door. The feature 3 is about exchanging any unused cat food and supplies with other cat owners nearby. The feature 4 is we will provide customized and fresh cat foods based on each cat's needs.
A few moments later.
Basically, I keep talking about all these features and what are these features I was designing for without telling about the why and also the rationale. By the end of this presentation, I start to share some color and UI libraries I did for these projects. And then I finished the overall presentation. And guess what? I failed. So my suggestion here is to really go deep into your design exploration based on this how might we statement or any problem statements. Here are 3 design concepts I explore, and you can briefly talk about these 3 design concepts and mention the pros and cons of each options and each concept and why you end up with choosing concept C other than other option, and show your design exploration with the rationale. If this is a client project or company project, make sure you add a mini story about the collaboration. For example, here is couple design concept I share with my product team, and I walk through the pros and cons of each option. We got alignment on the option C. The other way you can talk about the collaboration, how did you deal with the conflict or disagreement with your product manager or engineer? For example, I have this design proposal, so I share with my engineer and product manager, but this design proposal got pushed back because from the technical perspectives, we don't have this component in our design system. So it would took engineering so long to build this component. And from the business perspective, my product manager mentioned that we need to add additional information on the screen to call out blah blah information. You can talk about what did you do to end up with solution that balance everything, that balance like user needs, business needs, and technical constraints. So if this is a student project, don't worry, you can still pull out one story when you have a conflict or disagreement with other teammates. The other thing I want to say is you need to humanize your language and story a little bit. What does this mean? You don't have to limit yourself in the traditional human-computer interaction design process, which you learn from the school or bootcamps. You can actually say something like, this is my first project I did at this startup company because we don't have any researcher on the team, so I took this opportunity to drive the research process. The third mistake is you have no overview and no conclusion during the entire presentation, so you jump into the research and design process without giving enough context, and then end up with this presentation with nothing, no conclusions. Before you jump into any research and design detail, make sure you give audience the high-level overview. Like what is the design process? What is this design project? And what is your role? And what is your responsibility? Who you collaborate with, what is the overall timeline, and what is the most important outcome for this project. So giving them the higher level overview before jumping into the actual process. And then by the end of these projects, make sure you empathize and talk about the project outcomes and results. I synthesize the outcome into two perspectives. The one is the internal outcome. You contribute to the design system by creating a new component. You can also create the framework to facilitate the remote collaboration. This could be the internal outcomes. And the other type of outcome is the project outcomes. Like this project increased the user retention rate by 20%. And this project or this new feature got really positive user feedback. Don't forget to share what you have learned so far by the end of these presentations. There are two types of learning you can actually share here. One is the technical learning, like what did you learn by working on these complicated B2B projects? What did you learn about designing for accessibility, designing for the smaller mobile screen? And the other one is actually the non-technical learning you can share. What did you learn from collaborate with the product manager who never worked with designer before? How did you handle the design with the engineering team? By sharing these kind of non-technical learning, you can highlight your soft skill as a UX designer. If you want to learn more about how to structure the UX design portfolio presentation, I have the other video where I share storytelling frameworks I'm using for every of my UX portfolio presentation. Be sure to subscribe my channel so you don't miss anything to level up your UX design career. And see you next time. Bye.